4K, it's great to see you, brother. And the last time you and I physically saw each other, I got to do something very, very special. And it was introducing you at a certain event. You remember what that event was?
Absolutely. The Elevate Festival block party with Lemon Entertainment. That was an incredible, incredible show. And I was really excited that you were the MC that night because you always bring the energy.
I do my best, my friend, but I had to with you because I knew the crew that you had. I wasn't going to be doing, hello, welcome, everybody. No, it wasn't going to be
No,
anything
no,
like that. No, man.
no.
You guys tore it up. That audience, oh my goodness, you could not hold them down. What is it like for you to put out that kind of energy through the music you play, through the music you create, and of course, the folks that you have around you who you are providing a platform for?
You know what? I come from a background of, first of all, sports. I see you wearing your Raptors championship hat, so I love that. I come from a background of sports, from playing sports to working with the Raptors, and of course, bringing the energy in the arena for every game, but also from the nightclubs and like at the clubs and the parties. It's all about the energy. You got to get people ramped up, and you want hands in the air, you want smiles, you want people jumping up and down, and that's the thing. So now that I'm transitioned to artist slash DJ, where I'm making my own music, I'm performing on stages, and I'm putting artists in position on stage with me. That's the vibes. That is the vibes. You see my logo of my record label, Jane Shepherd, is an energy bolt. It's all about the energy. It's all about getting people amped up and leaving with an experience that they were just like, wow, we just felt something.
But you also have respect for back in the day in the old school. And a perfect example was when you and I took that picture together. You had the Aaliyah shirt on. I had the Whitney Houston shirt on because it always starts somewhere, as it leads on to what you're doing.
Yeah, well, I mean, where it started for me, my dad was a funk band musician in the 70s and 80s before he stopped doing that to become a chef to be more stable because he had a baby. It was me. But prior to that, and even like in my very early years, he was still gigging. And that's where I learned it from, man. My whole upbringing was music. There was always records in the house. There's guitars in the house that I would tinker on. I actually literally just posted a picture on Instagram right now with my album cover and an old photo of myself holding a guitar that my dad took that picture. It's always been in my blood to play music, to be around music, to be a part of music. So this is all just very natural.
What was it like? Well, what is it like, though, to be the host DJ for the Toronto Raptors? And what was it like to do that during the championship year and the fact and when they won?
I wish I could explain this in words. It was one of those you had to be there situations. And for everybody who was in the city at that time, for all the people that came into the city, because there was tons of people that came in to experience that energy. So all the people across Canada and all the extra Jurassic Parks that started popping up, like it was infectious. Everything, single thing about that was 10 out of 10 energy from start to finish. And for myself, who I've been there since 2005, Rudy. So I'm now entering my 18th year as the Toronto Raptors official DJ, which is crazy to me. But through those ups and downs, I've always had such a great time because I played ball growing up. I loved the Raptors growing up. And to be able to put those together has been incredible, especially with music. You know what I mean? Like, it's the perfect marriage for me. But that 2019 year was, it's giving me goosebumps right now just thinking about how that felt.
Did you get a ring? I was curious.
I did, absolutely, with my name engraved in it. It's one of probably my most prized possession. I'm not really one for things, but that thing right there, I like that thing.
I got to ask you one more question about with the Raptors and everything. You, of course, remember the ever famous
The
the
shot.
ball, yes, and it rolled, and we would. What was like for you to witness that and then whoosh, finally go
Man,
through?
I we were all everybody on their seat on their feet fixated on those four bounces before it dropped in, and then there was that just brief moment of I can't believe that just happened, and then just the whole place erupted. And I was supposed to play "Let Me Clear My Throat," which is our victory song,
Mhm.
and it didn't make sense for me to play that at that time because the place was so loud. Who would even hear it? So I just like let the crowd have it. We all had that moment. We went crazy for what felt like 5 minutes straight of everyone just screaming at the top of their lungs. And then I dropped that track and it just went up even more from there.
Well, when it comes to dropping tracks, you're not just doing it for the Raptors. You're not just doing it in Toronto and not just Canada. You are international. What is it like playing in places? Because I know even before I introduced you, we were talking really quickly, and you said you just came back from the UK.
Yeah. I've been international. That's always been my goal. Oddly enough, I named myself Four Corners after the saying Four Corners of the World. And I just like on some vision board type stuff, I was like, well, if I name myself that, I'm going to be writing it down. I'm going to be saying it all the time, every day. And I'm going to be thinking it. And that's got to help me manifest something. And I just decided that from the beginning and just started working towards it. Started locally DJing in Toronto, wherever anyone would have me. And then moved on to, getting into some good nightclub gigs and then moving around the country and getting some good gigs. And then I got my first opportunity to DJ in Europe and I never looked back from that. At that point, I came home and I remember thinking to myself, it's too late for me. I've seen too much. I've experienced too much now in this one trip. And like, I'm never going to be satisfied with not flying around the world and experiencing more. So I've just been at it. And at this point, I've performed in over 20 countries around the world, like many, many times over. And, but this has all, for the most part, been as a club and concert DJ. So now that I'm making my own music, I'm able to do this in a different way. And I'm excited to see where this can take me.
Before we get to the music, you did have another experience. Something that I had an experience with, I would probably say almost 20 some years ago. And when I had this experience, nobody knew anything about this person at all. And I was lucky enough to talk to this individual, got a picture with this individual. I've posted it before. And it ended up being a famous day because that individual took a picture with a gold chain and a fanny pack. As we go to the future today, or this week, or this past couple of weeks, you had the chance to help introduce this individual who is now considered one of the biggest entertainment phenoms in the world. And you know who I'm talking about.
Absolutely. You know what? I didn't quite know who you're talking about until you said the gold chain and fanny pack. I was like, oh, yeah, The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I just did an event with him for the launch. He's on this promo tour for the launch of his new movie, Black Adam, and the Toronto stop, which he was really excited about because he has a lot of strong roots here in Toronto. We did it up, myself and Mark Strong, also from the Raptors, introduced him and rocked the stage with him and helped him usher in this movie to the Toronto fandom. And like, people were going crazy, man. It's wild how I forget he used to be a wrestler at this point. You know what I mean? Much less a CFL football player. But like, yeah, I forget about the fact that he was like the biggest wrestler because he's such a big movie star at this point that it just eclipses everything. That guy is, man, you should have seen how people were just like going so crazy. And beyond that, what I must say, he is exactly who you would hope he would be as a person. Like the nicest, kindest, like the way that he handled his fans and how he gave them moments, despite the fact that he's obviously a busy guy. He's obviously there to talk about his movie, but he had individual conversations in between all that with fans and gave them those memories that they're never going to forget.
Yeah, he definitely knows that. And it's so funny because, like I said, when I met him, he literally was leaning against the wall. Everybody was ignoring him. Mm-hmm. And they were dealing with another wrestler that was being introduced. And I just happened to go, let me just go talk to him because I remember I was a big fan of his dad. Yeah. And we did the interview. We took the picture. And you have to admit this, too. Trying to take a one-on-one picture with Dwayne Johnson is hard because he is so tall and big. And when you see my picture, we had to take it in this angle because you couldn't take it straight on because he's
a big dude.
He's a big dude.
Absolutely. No,
well,
great. I'm so happy I was able to do that and like meet him in that context. That's the first time I met him, but such a great dude. Had a quick conversation. He's that guy.
He definitely is, and you're the guy with the music and the plan. Let's get into it right now because we are celebrating you releasing your own music. What's going on?
Yeah, my album, my debut album, Four Corners of the World, just dropped today. I'm so excited for people to hear it. I've been working on this for the better part of a year, but prior to that, I feel like what I've been doing over the pandemic and just a little bit before that, but a lot during, is what's led up to this. Because I mean, we all went through a tough time. We're all figuring out what it is that we can do during this time, what we're able to do. And I, at some point during that, after being really bummed out and really confused, just like the rest of us, I decided to just lock in on music and just focus my attention on getting better as a songwriter, as a musician, as a producer. And what's come of that now, as I've been releasing music throughout the past few years, is this collection of songs that I'm so proud to call my first album. It was supposed to be an EP, but I just had so many songs that I was like, I can't cut these all out. These are all part of this story. And the story that I'm telling with it is basically the story of Toronto, the story of a Toronto kid from Jane and Shepherd that just grew up around all cultures. All my friends were from all ethnic different backgrounds. All of us are either first generation Canadians or are from somewhere else. And that brings a certain vibe. There's nowhere else in the world like this city for that. And beyond that, like we were talking about, I've been DJing internationally. I've been traveling for, just over a decade, gone to places that I'd never thought I would ever see. And a lot of places that I was like high on my bucket list and everything in between. And like, I just took all of that plus what it is and who I am as a person who's grown up here in Toronto. And also the frustration of not being able to travel and just like letting the music take me places during that time. And I just put it all together in unique and interesting ways that I think that only someone who was trapped with their thoughts could do. And what came out was this project that I'm, like I said, I'm so proud of it. It's a mix of, I counted, and there's over 15 musical genres in these 8 songs that they're just blended in a way that's just so different. And I'm so excited for people to hear it.
And who are some of the guest? I assume you got guest artists on this too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And I pulled from a pool of talented artists that I've met over the past couple of years from across Canada. Audrey, who's been on Lemon Stage, who's an incredibly talented artist from Quebec. Tamia, who's one of the best rappers that I've ever known, and she's so new. She's Nigerian. She grew up in the UK. She lives in Vancouver. I met her on Instagram. I got in the studio with her when I was in Vancouver doing some club shows. I just got on. I was like, hey, I'm going to the studio. Can you get down here? She came down and slayed this verse. Ashton Adams, who's an ongoing collaborator with me, that we have a separate project called 401 West that's just straight up Black house music. So he's involved in that. Fafa Khan, who's a talented female DJ producer from Montreal. I just pulled from all of my talented friends, honestly. Everybody on this project is family. Everyone, I love them all, and I'm so excited to be able to create music with them. And it just worked out, man. It just worked out to be this thing that's it's all things, and it's something completely new.
I love this. Are you gonna be able to tour this? And like, how are we gonna hear this live? Are we gonna hear it at the Raptors games? What's going on?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm already playing it at the Raptors games. Even before it came out, I was playing some of these songs at the Raptors games, and I will continue to do that, of course. I'll be doing a club tour across Canada over the next 2 months to, get out there and, present these records. And then I'll also be doing some concerts, one of which I can't exactly say too much detail about yet, but there was a concert coming up in November in Toronto, and it's going to be a ting. It's going to be a real ting. It's going to feel a lot like what you experienced at the Elevate Festival block party.
All right, cannot wait for that. Look, before we wrap this up, you probably get asked this all the time because people see the end result with you up on stage with thousands of people having a great time. They don't realize where, as we talked earlier, where it started and where it came from. What advice do you give DJs who want to be able to do what you do today? One of the things I always say is, because I grew up with DJs, if you can't use 2 turntables and vinyl, don't even bother. But that's my advice.
Right.
What advice do you have?
You know what? Up until a certain point, that was definitely law. But technology has gone so far past that there are so many. At this point,
I don't care. I don't care. Use your turntables and vinyl. Don't care.
In my opinion, it's similar to being a producer, and it's like, okay, well, what software or what hardware, what instruments do you use? The end result is what comes out of the speakers. If it makes people feel, that's that right there. But the advice that I give to everybody trying to do anything, and I hope that I'm inspiring people, and people do often tell me that I inspire them, which is really fulfilling. Go for it. Like, whatever it is that you want to do, decide, and then just work backwards from that. Just like everything that you do, once you find what it is that you love. Like when I decided I wanted to be a DJ, and then beyond that, when I decided I want to be a music producer, I want to be an artist, I'm going to do this. I decided, I set my sights on that goal, and I reverse engineered it by just letting everything that I do serve my path to get there. So to simplify it, is like, if you want to get from here to the door, you got to stand up and put one foot in front of the other. So like, Absolutely. If you want to, whatever it is that you want to do, you have to take steps towards that thing. And it's not going to be a straight path, because being a creative, there's no straight path. You have to, it's different for all of us, but as long as you're moving in the direction and doing things that serve the purpose of where it is that you want to reach, you'll get there, or as close as you humanly possibly can.
Absolutely. Last thing I want folks to know, they need to follow you on social media, especially on Instagram. Your videos that you put together, absolutely amazing. I absolutely love that. Congratulations on the success. Thank you so much for being such an inspiration. Toronto young man who has shown where dreams can take you, and it can take you anywhere. I swear, if we could fly into space to other planets, you'd figure out a way to do that.
Absolutely. I'm working on it, Rudy.
I believe that. Again, congratulations. Thank you so much. We'll definitely talk soon.
Thank you. Love.